Hey, I'm Decathlon Gamer, and welcome to Pro Cycling Manager 2021. It's here, or at least for me, it is. Thank you to Nikon and Cyanide Studios for providing me with a key to get an early access preview to this release. For you, it's just 2 days away. In fact, maybe a day and a half by the time I actually get this out. Now, for longtime viewers, this first look episode here, things might sound a little bit off. If you've been tracking what's going on with the channel, I've been coming and going and haven't been home for the last week. Dragged my computer along with me to help take care of some family, but I don't have my regular setup. Microphone's not in the usual place. Audio, I'm trying to fairly well balance, but things are off kilter from what they are. But here I am, and we're getting this first look. We're going to do so by participating in the race. We might get about 3 episodes out of this, in the race that's ongoing right now in real life, and that's the Criterium, the Dauphine. We're going to take a quick look here at the 8-stage profile. In real life, at the time of recording, 3 stages have already been carried on with, and then there's still 5 stages yet to go, and I'll roll out about 3 episodes in the next 3 days in this first look preview at the game. So first stage is a little bit punchy. That's the one we will get on with here in just a moment. Second stage is definitely more punchy. Lucas Postelberger claimed victory on this stage in real life and then leads the Criterium as a result currently, though it's a slender lead. Stage 3, sprint finish, uphill though, but sprint finish. Stage 4, small, short 13-kilometer time trial. Stage 5, on the flat, but that's a pretty punchy run up to it, and you could easily see a number of sprinters not there by the finish. And then we're going to get into the mountain stages. First 6, 7, and finally with 8, each one successively getting more and more kilometers of climbing out of the way as you go along. Let's go ahead and hop into stage number 1. And we hit the first sizable hill of the Criterium about at the halfway point. We're going to need to get water fairly soon. You can see we've got some guys drifting backward at the moment, but they should be okay, and then we'll get that water. Morin, who is a sprinter, struggling a bit more than others, but we're fine. We have only a 2-man break. They have a 3-minute lead, and the first noticeable thing as Morin goes straight out the back to get water, that's not a good sign at all. He's really struggling to try to get back forward now in this group of 10 that fell off the back, and that was clearly not to get water. In fact, he's completely given up on that task at this point. We're going to have to now lose a second rider to do so, and hopefully he can actually even get back. Morin falls off the back of that group.
We'll soon know the final outcome.
Auto. Leave him to his own devices. That was unfortunate that he got lost like that, but he did. Now, first noticeable thing is the UI is 100% the same, completely unchanged from 1 year ago. So we see Perez now drifting backward, and that is to get water because, well, the task failed when Morin was sent to do it, as he fell right off the back. It is now literally the only rider
feared by many
off
riders.
the back.
The percentages are very high.
He gave up on that task of getting water. His original effort of 70 was not enough to continue on, and he just fell back.
The pack's deficit
Gil
is
Martin,
being
the
cut
only
back.
one who does
A couple
not
of teams
have
have set themselves up as
water right
pacemakers
now.
for the
That's not a
pack.
good
They
thing.
obviously
Also,
don't
one
have
thing I
anybody
have
in the
noticed
breakaway
is,
group.
at least at the moment, it used to be that even if you don't visibly see the rider who effort bar, that effort bar is all tied together, and if it's pre-selected on one when you select all and they are protecting somebody else, you're not going to see anything. So that's unfortunate. I hope they change that back, because it's not a change that I care for, and I don't see why you would change that.
It's survival of
Well,
the
anyway,
fittest, and evolution doesn't
here's
seem
the
to favor
game.
those in the rear.
So
There's
far,
a growing list of
again,
riders left behind.
it's the same game. No changes here.
Eva has folded.
But what we're going to do over these
rider
next
has fallen,
3
and he's
episodes
not
is we're
getting
going to
back
talk about
up.
what
It looks
changes
like
there
he'll
are
have to abandon the race.
I will give my opinion on what those are, but absolutely, regardless whether I like it or not, I have every intention of having a complete... How are we still not getting water to
A
Guillaume
rider
Martin?
just withdrew.
All those guys go and get water, and none of them hand him water on the way through, and then they completely give up the idea on the way? That's insane. Go protect your leader.
The escapees have surrendered.
33K
That
to
gave
go.
them no chance.
Let's try to help my team get back to the front. Now, we ride with Cofidis for this race. And Cofidis is, well, it's a team that used to have a rich history. And then
The riders
things
have upped
happened,
the pace.
financial things, and they fell out of the World Tour. This is their first year back. So they are just returning to the World Tour. And their lead rider is Guillaume Martin. Now, Martin is somebody that I'm big on. And I think his ratings are not quite where they should be. I think he's a little bit better than the game gives him credit for, that the developers give him credit for. He's a
There's
77
sustained rhythm
overall.
at the moment. Some
I
riders
would think
definitely
he's a
won't be able to keep
78
up.
overall. That's not a big difference, but has an impact. He's not a good time trialist, but he's not this bad. His
It's in
resistance
such
isn't
percentages
great,
that the strongest
but
can
it's
create
definitely
some
not
gaps.
this bad. So that is fairly disappointing that they've done that to him. Now we are already on to the final climb. This needs to be where I really up our effort. We don't want guys dropping back right now. We need to be staying put. We are too far out from the finish for this to be a
And
punchy
now
finish
Omar
on these
Friley
stages.
goes into the
It's going to
attack.
be a sprint one, especially with 140 riders in the peloton.
The peloton has definitely accelerated, meaning that an attack is highly unlikely.
Haas still struggling back here. Van Bilsen
The riders are entering the
going
last 15
backwards.
kilometers
These
of
are
the
the same
stage.
Cofidis riders who are
The
participating in
group
the
is slowly
Dauphine this
thinning
year.
out due to such a frantic pace.
And now just 109. Morin's been dropped. 100. Secondary climb here.
Martin
But
is
over
off.
this 3-episode set, we're going to talk about the production process, as I have learned quite a bit about that. What it takes to make this Pro Cycling Manager game. What the team is up to. Haas hanging in there. Might still be involved. He's a decent sprinter. You would like to have him at the end. We've got a single rider pushing off the front, and we've got another group trying to establish a gap
There are
over
just
the
10
rear.
kilometers
At the
left.
moment, they have gained a little bit of separation. That's 22, now 23 riders at the front, but I'm pretty sure we're going to make contact in a moment. And with 9K to go, Haas too far back, too tired. Otto, all right,
And it's a
do our
swift
thing. We
acceleration
have
by
4 guys up
Maximilian
here.
Schachmann.
Let's see what we can do with 4 riders. So let's select each of them, and let's set them to 99. Martin is who we ride for because he's the overall leader. Perez is looking really good. Geshka is even faster. So let's go ahead and go like this, and then Pierre-Luc Perachon will lead this group out. And we've got to make contact with that group ahead of us, though it looks like that's inevitable. That's going to happen in just a moment. But with this downhill, we need to be pushing pretty hard, 6K, to get up to the front. Okay, it is
5
back
kilometers
together.
remaining.
98 riders. There's that last little downhill. Perachon finds a way through, but he loses Perez momentarily, who gets squeezed off here by the movie star rider. 2.5K to go. Perez, get up there. Yeah, 2K to go. Just keep on sprinting. Geshka coming through. We have lost Guillaume Martin, and I'm not much of a sprinter here in any way, shape, or form, so Martin gets dropped off, so he falls back, but Geshka should be in for a podium here.
He really had to fight for that
Schachmann,
one.
Geshka,
A great sprint
Hagita,
finish.
and then Perez and Dan Martin. So we do get a podium, not a stage win on that first one. if Martin had something left in the tank there at the end and
The
could
tail
have
enders are still coming
used
in.
that lead out, he could have won the stage, but he's not much of a sprinter, and that's why we ended up with Geshka as kind of the guy who was in that position. But we set it up in a way that it was favoring the leader, Martin, who crossed line in 16th. He won't lose time, so that's good. In fact, he sits 15th in the overall right now after 3 stages in real life. So there you go, he's right about in the correct position. Still, podium, good way to start. We now ride on stage 2 of the Dauphine. So I have noticed a single difference in the UI. If you look at our Peloton marker, a little mini map at the bottom center of the screen, and if you look at the jerseys, there's a little bit more of a 3D texture to the jerseys than there was in years past. So there's our first subtle change to the game this year. Now, first thing about the game development is the cycle was off this year compared to previous years. Okay, long story short on that one, COVID. All right, let's go ahead and simplify that one so you know what I'm talking about. Last year's game, last year's Tour de France
The pace is so high that a few riders are going to be very
was
sore at the
delayed.
end of the day.
Last year's game, the outcome, it came out on time. But because the Tour de France was delayed, that's kind of the benchmark that they developed the game around. And because the Tour de France didn't happen until months later than what it would normally do, and all the Grand Tours were going on pretty much in conjunction with each other, the cycling season being postponed the development schedule this year. So there is less compared to a normal year. And a normal year, well, let's be honest, they don't exactly come out with game changers on a yearly basis. There's quite a few years, there's quite a few times where we're looking at the same game with just a few minor to maybe one medium change within the game. That's what kind of year that we are seeing this time. But like I said, over this and the next 2 episodes, I'm going to go ahead and discuss, as this is taking insanely long for Parachon. What the heck? Okay, I don't expect that we're going to get water at all. I think we're going to need to get on with our task here quite soon, because I expected him to be already back to the front or near the front by this point and making a move from here. We're 12k from the top of the climb, and this is where all the action's going to happen. So for the second stage in a row, water has been a bit of an issue. We've got Morin back there. We've got Parachon. I'm going to, I suppose, leave him on the task, but then Bilson, maybe you can follow him coming forward? Nope, you can't even hit follow. Why don't you just try to go forward? Do what you can. All right, meanwhile, we have Haas, Martin, Geshka, Perez. That's the 4. So again, we're looking at 4 riders. Okay, this is a bigger climb, so I don't think we're going to go full blast. That means this is definitely going to favor Martin more than others. Geshka, probably our next strongest option, at least in terms of punchiness, and then Perez, a little bit stronger. And Haas is going to have to start leading things out. Back off a little bit. We're on the flat right now. I want to be forward. We're going to try to do something with this, because as a weaker team, we don't have a whole lot of hope of getting a result in the overall. But today is one of those days where we might be able to get something going. By the way, we are on extreme difficulty for this first look, as that's what I play on. Been playing Pro Cycling Manager for about 8 years now. Alright, so Haas sets up. He's going to reach the base of the climb first. We are down to 7.6k with 4 riders.
It's in such
Perez ready
percentages
right now.
that the strongest can
Haas
create
already
some
leading
gaps.
it out. He's a punchy guy, so we really do want to be kind of using that punchiness as we're down to 6k. 95 would get full. Okay, here comes some of our competitors, so let's get that full punchiness out of Haas now, and let's get on to Perez, who's a little bit balanced.
The
Geshka,
Peloton has definitely
Martin still
accelerated,
there,
meaning that an attack is
4.5k.
highly unlikely.
There's still more to go after the top, by the way. This is hurting Geshka. 3k to go to the top. Okay, Perez out of red bar, but he's still got that yellow bar. Others are going to push faster, but we can respond fairly well.
Acceleration by Ciccone.
3k to
There are
go.
just 10 kilometers
The
left.
top of the climb. They have a banner and a random placement now. Ooh, hello, hello. Okay, we have a breakaway. We have
Those
a
guys up front
breakaway.
aren't going to be
No other
making too many
guys.
friends today.
Set them all to auto. We don't want Perez pulling his team leader back. But with Hugh Carthy and Ciccone, let's work together here, could we? He's willing to work. They have worked on the AI a little bit this year. So there's our second change, and that is supposedly one of the biggest changes of this year. Okay, Martin hangs on over the top. We've got 35 seconds over the field, and Martin is just hanging in there right now, and he's going to struggle on this climb. I think he's going to end up getting dropped. Carthy, yeah, Carthy's doing a little bit better. He's going to slip off here. We've almost made this work, and we might just squeeze. Hang on, nope. Okay, we're into the now current break. I also just saw that the group cooperation has a new look to it. Okay, we do not want to work. We want to just hang on. 3k to go. Right now we're looking at same time in a small group of 15 riders, -1. So we're going to have a little advantage there at the front. 1.5k. We got to start squeezing forward. 1k. Sprint it out for the finish line.
And it's a solo
Ciccone
victory
hangs
for
on,
Giulio
takes the win.
Ciccone.
Ooh, these guys might actually gain a couple seconds. We'll see. Hagita, Schachmann, Hermans, Lutsenko round out the top 5. I'll be just outside in 11th. Just behind Sepp Kuss. Good result overall. We'll see if they give separation to those 6 riders who got a couple bike lengths over. Fantastic news for me, somebody who has long since been bothered by the fact that except on mountain stages, you rarely get time gaps given where time gaps appear. Ciccone, who had a clear advantage, gets the time gap. Those 6 riders who sprinted and were able to maintain that sprint where the rest of us fell off just a little bit just before the line, they're at 16 seconds, and then our next group, we're at 30 seconds. We lost time. That's fantastic. That is absolutely fantastic. And then the groups behind us didn't all end up on the same time as us. They lost time as well. A minute to that group, minute 45. We see groups. We see separation. We also see that even though the UI is exactly the same, the text here in the data page is looking a bit better. The results page, I can see more clearly. My riders, it's the same green tint we've seen in the past, but the white pops a lot more. So far, so good. Subtle things, little things, but good things. Next visible change is this. I've seen this helicopter cam quite a bit. I use it for the cinematic purpose. I don't recommend it in normal gameplay, but early, mid-stage where everybody's kind of cruising along, it's fine. There's nothing wrong with using this cam. Stage 3, it's a sprint stage. We've got a while to go to the finish, but I wanted to have at least a couple minutes to discuss the game slightly before we continue forward. So, definitely a different look at your riders from this angle, and I kind of like what I'm seeing here. And there's a much more realistic feel to the riders in your squad than the other angles. So 143 in the peloton, we're chasing 2. It's a 4.5 minute gap, so we've got some work to do to chase them down. But I would be really surprised if 2 riders away for the entire day are able to hang on. As we go inside 60k, it's a good opportunity to go ahead and get our final time. It does seem to take a while this year compared to normal, but the mechanics are still the same in how that works. That time it didn't take long, so maybe we just had a little bit of bad luck on the previous couple of stages. There we go, water's complete. We've got 40k to go to the finish. Let me give you the first couple pieces of why we didn't see a whole lot of development this year, and why, for a game that is solid, it's good, but there's room for improvement. Why we don't see that improvement happening every year. Why there's some bugs that persist. Why there are new features that are clear and obvious, but take many years to implement, and we only get subtle changes year on, year out. 33k to go now. First thing,
the pace is really hot,
year
so for the
round,
moment, we shouldn't see too many attacks.
Cyanide only have 15
Somebody's
people
come a
working
cropper in the pack. Thank goodness
on
everyone
this
else
game.
escaped unhurt.
But here's the thing, and this one I didn't realize before. I didn't know. I already knew that they were working with a small team. 15 is not the smallest. I've heard of much smaller. Obviously, there are plenty of notable games out there. Stardew Valley, Minecraft, games that were developed, at least initially, by a single person.
The pack is slowly whittling away the
25k
lead.
to go.
A couple of teams
Last
have set themselves up as
sizable
pacemakers
hill
for the
at the
pack.
moment.
They
It's
obviously
not
don't
bad,
have
just over
anybody in the breakaway
3%,
group.
and definitely setting us up for that sprint, which at the end of this one is uphill. Favorite, Sunny Cold Brelly. Won it in real life just this morning. Alright, well anyway. These 15 people are working on 2 games, not 1. Yeah. They have to produce 2 games yearly. The other one, Tour de France. So the yearly edition of Tour de France, it's the same team working on that that is working on Pro Cycling.
The pack is increasing its work
It's
rate.
not separate
Some
teams.
teams can't be happy with
So,
the breakaway.
now they're splitting their load. And I'll be honest with you, it's going to take a while to get into, and we're not going to get into it till next episode.
That's the end
But
of the breakaway. The pack gave them no chance. 10
those
kilometers
15
remaining.
team members spend more time working on Tour de France than they spend on Pro Cycling Manager. It takes longer to produce that game than it does to produce this game on a yearly basis. More time consuming. So there's one of your big keys right there. Let's go ahead and prepare our team for the upcoming sprint. I want Martin at the back. He's not a sprinter. Deshka is probably the guy who's going to actually sprint. Morin, a little bit faster, but he's on a -2, so he's not really looking that great today. Let's see, Perez is looking okay, 68, 69. Haas is, I think we're already kind of into our sprint now. Flat ratings. Perez is better, so we'll take Perez, then Haas. Then Bilson can lead this thing out. And actually, Parachon. I think we need to just go flat out 99 all the way. Let's get these first 3 guys, and then Parachon. Off you go, buddy.
The riders are closing on the last 8 kilometers of the stage, which will most likely
Alright, this will
end
be
up
the
in a
last
mass
stage that we
sprint.
cover of this today. It's 3 of the 8 stages. We'll get 3 again tomorrow, and then we'll get 2 final stages on the 3rd day, on release day, for this title, for this game. Under 6k to go. Get the gels behind. Okay, we're feeling it a little bit, but that was an
5
uphill
kilometers to the
section,
finish
so it's going
line.
to do a little damage. 4.5k to go. I want you to get a little acceleration before we go into our next man. And Bilson. 3.4. 2.5. Let's start sprinting. Haas through the little uphill section. Perez. Morin is not handling things terribly well here. We are at the front, which is a good thing. 800 meters. Geshka and Martin. Let's go ahead and just get both of them to sprint. Geshka, the one we're riding for at the moment. You've got Schachman ahead of him. Morin, who's already used up. Haas, who's already used up. Caleb Ewan, who looks poised to win this thing, I would think. Perez out front, who's already used up. And Sagan, who's in a strong position as well. I think at this point we are trying to ride for 3rd place. Ahead of Tim Wellens or Tosh van der Sande. See if we can hang on ahead of those guys. Geshka. Hopefully he can get through. One thing of note as we're on the subject. We have less than 1,000 meters to go. We've got 800 meters and we're coming up on a corner. This game historically locks riders into a corner. They don't handle the mechanics very well of how to handle a corner. Apparently they've worked on it. We'll see. Oh, Geshka got caught behind and then gets caught behind a second time. Sagan fades. I told you Ewan poised to win. Does easily. Sagan's going to hang on for... No, he's going to slip out of the top three. Trentin just crosses the line. Sagan and then Buwani. Geshka, 7th. Gilmartin, 9th place. Not a great result on that one. Geshka, I tried to see what would happen on the inside, but we slowed up a little bit, changing our line on that one. Martin finished a little bit stronger than Geshka.
We're waiting for the back markers, who appear to be fairly numerous in this difficult race.
All right, well, that is our first look. But like I said, this first look is going to last across 3 episodes. I have plenty of more information on Cyanide and the development of this game to share with you in the coming couple of episodes. And then there are definitely more than just the subtle changes we've talked about so far that we're going to get into over those next couple episodes. And then, of course, the career mode will get underway. We carried out a vote on what that one would be. In our last one, we are over 180 episodes for Pro Cycling Manager 2020. So if you are new to the channel, you can expect another very lengthy PCM 21 career mode on this one, played in full. I'm Decathlon Gamer. I really appreciate you coming to check out this new release from Cyanide Studio, published by Nacon, and I am looking very forward to its release here in just a couple of days. June 3rd. Set your calendars. Can't wait. Be sure to hit that like button, subscribe for more action, and I'll see you next time. Have a good one. Be safe out there, and bye for now.